There's rather a lot in this episode. I spent a couple of weeks in eastern Turkey, Georgia and Armenia, and there are 2 other episodes dedicated to climbing Mount Ararat and the quest for Noah's Ark. But this one is about everything else that happened during my visit and the travels in this general area. The miscellaneous bits and pieces, a vegetable soup made from experiences and observations from being in this part of the world. So let us commence. This place is a doorway to Mount Ararat and Noah's Ark. I found the Ark! But it also is a great opportunity to sample and taste the authentic Kurdish lifestyle. Turkish clothing shop. They look Turkish to me. The Kurds are a people group that are spread across a few different countries, and politically they have been tossed around like a football. Some from Iran that I met used words like, "We are oppressed in Iran by a brutal regime," so I really do feel for them. Anyway, I had the opportunity to go to a Turkish bath. You will be pleased to know there are no pictures of me in the bathhouse. In fact, when I went back into the bathhouse with my camera, it immediately fogged up, so there would be no pictures even if I wanted to, which I don't. I had a massage by a Turkish man that was the size of Andre the Giant and as hairy as a woolly mammoth. He successfully scrubbed all my layers of skin right off. Our Mount Ararat climbing tour company arranged us to see this treasure. Built in the 1700s, this palace illustrates the wealth and the power that the Ottoman Empire once commanded. It included a significant harem back in the day, but I didn't ask for further details. Monday morning, just checked out of my hotel I can't even say this town's name, wherever I am. I've checked out of the hotel. Monday morning, just about to go and see if I can catch a bus to Igda, where I've been assured I can get a transfer to Kars, where I think I can get another bus to Georgia. So that's the plan for today. I have nothing booked for accommodation or transport, but let's give it a crack. I found it very easy to travel in Europe. I largely arranged it in advance using a particular app. But in this part of the world, it is very much a turn up and go kind of arrangement. Well, I got to Igda, no problems at all. Took about an hour. And information on the internet is usually by way of fellow travellers' blogs, and they can be out of date, particularly post-COVID, and particularly this time of year, which is a shoulder season. Igda to Kars involved a wait of 2 or 3 hours, and then the 3-hour bus ride to Kars. But again, no problem. But in Kars, I was expecting to be able to find a direct bus that would connect me with the Georgian capital Tbilisi. Wasn't to be. So I overnighted in Kars. Kars was a real surprise. The old part of the town proved to be very interesting. So that place started out life as a church, and then turned into a mosque. And then when the Russians were here, it turned back into an Orthodox church. And then it became a mosque again. So, building with many purposes over the years. This bus trip took us right through some amazing scenery, largely dry grasslands, but then through high mountain roads, circling around reservoirs and dams before heading downwards through multiple tunnels until finally we arrive at Hopa, a town on the coast of the Black Sea. From there it was a short minibus ride to the border, and then another minibus on the other side took me to Batumi. I knew nothing about this place, but a few people had told me this was the easiest place to cross the Turkish-Georgian border. But it is far more than just a convenient border crossing.
Must be washing day.
It was a fabulous tourist destination in itself.
That could almost be Starfleet Command.
I didn't hear a lot of English spoken here, but I did hear a lot of Russian. I suspect this is where Russians come to holiday, on the other side of the Black Sea, which makes sense because Georgia was part of the old USSR.
Black Sea. Woo! Come here. The Black Sea. Yep, that's the Black Sea.
A special mention about the sculpture of a man and a woman. It is continuously revolving, and there is a point where the man and woman move through each other. Particularly poetic and full of deeper meaning. Probably. And another special mention to this building here. It is a tribute to the Georgian alphabet. Each of the 33 characters are represented on this building in celebration of one of the 14 oldest alphabets in the world. I personally find this alphabet very pretty.
That's the guy that clearly works out.
Another special mention this time about Batumi at night. They light up the buildings down at the waterfront like a neon Christmas tree. It's pretty cool. I'm not in the habit of photographing McDonald's, but that really is a rather impressive one. Relocating to Tbilisi. 5-hour train trip. Batumi to Tbilisi by train. A nice modern train, slightly over 5 hours, and you move from a fabulous holiday beach town to the capital city. The fastest speed I saw on the monitor in the cabin was 110 kilometers per hour, which is not bad for a 2-story train. In my humble opinion, Tbilisi is a cross between Paris and Mumbai. It's got some nice bits, but then there is a certain chaos about it, which is something I do adore. There are street markets, fabulous statues, and great food. It's vibrant and alive. I was told on a walking tour I did that 93% of the population identify as Christian, and that Georgia was the 7th safest country in the world. When I checked the great internet in the sky, I found that it had dropped to 18th safest country in the world, but just 3 years ago it was 4th. That really surprised me. And if you are wondering, New Zealand ranked 59th, just one ahead of Australia at 60th. I do wonder if it is based on incomplete data and reported crimes versus the actual crime rate. I don't know, but certainly interesting. There are quite a few stray dogs in this part of the world, but in Tbilisi they appear to be tagged and well looked after. Whoops. Some other fun facts about Georgia. They claim to have invented wine. Now, I don't know how you can prove that, but it's a claim. They certainly seem to drink a lot of it, and they even mix it up in their ice cream, which was actually quite nice, really. The name Tbilisi, and I apologise if I'm saying it incorrectly, but that's how I'm saying it. The name Tbilisi comes from the Georgian word for warm, because of the natural hot water springs that were found here. Joseph Stalin, one of the most notorious men ever to walk the planet, was born in Georgia, and I believe in his hometown there's a museum dedicated to how awesome he was. I certainly won't be going.
How bizarre.
And finally, the Georgians don't even call their country Georgia. They call it Sakadvelo. There is some dispute about where the Georgian name actually comes from, but I wouldn't mind betting it's somehow related to their patron saint, Saint George. Perhaps. Maybe.
I've heard a lot about these. These are Georgian dumplings.
I also had the opportunity to cross the border into Armenia, taking advantage of one of the many tours being offered by the touts that are easily identified on the main road as they stuff your hand full of flyers for various tours and adventures.
They're still driving laders around here.
My particular Armenian tour took me to 3 different churches in an area that used to be heavily mined for copper. The landscapes were impressive, as were of course the churches, but I'm suffering a bit of church overload from my time in Spain and travelling through Europe. We did, however, have a fantastic lunch in an Armenian home. Well worth the trip.
So apparently if you can walk along the entire length of the wall, your wish will come true. I've seen lots of people try, only one lady I've seen complete so far. So back in the day, this area was a rather major copper mine, and from the copper sourced in this area, apparently some of it ended up on the Statue of Liberty in New York. There you go.
I hope you liked this video. Please like and subscribe.